as you can see, it doesn't have the roll cage on it anymore, and if you have one of these, it doesn't have the seat in it. So took that out, cut out the dash there so it would have room, and I wired up, basically just cut the plug off the inside and wired up 2 clamps so I can put a car battery on it, because these are 12 volts and they're real easy. And so now my daughter put that seat on there, she thought that was hilarious. Well, I decided to do a little more work on the Barbie Jeep that I picked up off the curb. I got the 4-wheeler running and batteries work on that. Now it's time to kind of do something with this Jeep. The wheels on these things don't really do very well on the concrete, so they're pretty worn. I believe this is going to end up going to my, would it be niece-in-law?
No, just your niece.
My niece. Okay, cool. My niece is wanting a Barbie Jeep for Christmas, so hey, what better thing to use? But like I said, these wheels suck. So I have all these wheels up here, and these are actually off a Power Wheels 4-wheeler, and as you can see, they're knobby. So we're going to see how those fit. All right. So as my wife tries to remove spray paint off the hood, get these wheels popped off. That's just a straight rod. It's not threaded or anything. It's got one of those little plastic caps on it. And now this is a little plastic bushing that came with the wheels. It just goes in the back of there. So slide that on and put the wheel on. There we go. Nice. These, I think I'll put, now this is the bushing that came with the white wheel. I'll put that on there, and then I'll have to buy new clips because these clips get destroyed when you take them off, but that's basically what that'll look like. Clean these up. Alright, well, now there's clearance in there, but with the hubcap it doesn't come out past the center, so I won't be able to put a clip on that one unless I just leave the hubcap off. So I'm going to have to come up with something to adapt to that, so I have enough clearance. But that looks awesome. Has a little bit wider stance in the rear than it does in the front.
What does that mean?
I don't know. Well, I do have these wheels also. I have 2 of those. Those are also Power Wheels. These don't really fit, but man, that looks awesome. Look at how much of a rake that thing would have if it was to sit on the ground. Totally cool. And these guys are big too. Look at the width on that. It's like tractor tires. Yep, would be the most awesome Barbie Jeep in the world. So, if you actually own a Jeep yourself, any model, doesn't even have to be Power Wheels. Here are some cool customizing tips. So, can't wait to show you all the final product. What do y'all think about these wheels? Those are pretty much stock Jeep wheels. There you go. Factory from the dealer. Let's see what else I got I can throw on there. I could go actual pneumatic tires, fatties, or skinnies. We have old school pinstripe red rims, super skinnies, but the cool thing about these is these are actual Firestones. Looks like Red Skeleton's Jeep. How about the chrome spokes? Looking good with those. Alright, well, I started messing with this to see about getting a different battery. And went to Walmart. Walmart sells this EverStart. It is a lawnmower battery. 230 cold cranking amps. This battery retails for about 20 bucks. $19 and some change, something like that. But there's like a $12 core charge on it. So if you have a battery to turn in, awesome. To put in here, it's like I said, it's a like lawn utility vehicle, so it's smaller size. So the original idea was to put it in the front of the Jeep. So let me demonstrate that real quick. Palming a battery, no problem. Whoops. As you can see, it's just about a 1/4 inch too wide to fit in there. If I cut around the battery, that is going to cut into this area here, which will expose the battery to the elements, which I really don't want to do. So, next option is to put it back here under the seat. Which it fits nicely in between the motors right there. Now, this little ridge down here needs to be cut. I'm probably going to cut it on each side of the battery so it sets down in, and then it will hold the battery from moving side to side. And then I'll probably rig up something to keep it from sliding front to back. But as you can see, now the seat is just a piece of plywood. My wife put a piece of foam on it, and it looks really awesome because she upholstered it and everything, which will sit right on here. And the terminals stick up just above that edge. And I don't want to cut the terminals down. I don't want the seat sitting right on top of it. So once again, if I cut this little lip down here, that'll allow the battery to sit down inside. And then it'll be closer to the axle, but the axle is actually in this tunnel right here, and the battery actually sits on top of that area. And I probably won't actually cut that all the way down, so it'll still be up off that a little bit. But now the other quandary is I need to run the batteries, or sorry, the cables from the front to the back. And I'm guessing they come off of this switch. Let's see. Give me a second, let me figure out where these go. Okay. Get those out of the way. Okay, so these two screws, these are Phillips head. Got those guys loose, take them out, and then you can pull out the shifter mechanism. And then you can see there's wires run down. Now the wires that come out the front are white and black. And I have a black, orange, and red coming through here. If you pry up this pink piece here, there's a lot of gross sand and leaves. Get that out of the way, and then that runs up underneath the gas pedal, which that exposes something, and then there's this piece. Yep. Well, there's my wires there that run up through here. Yep. Those are red and black. So I'll undo my connectors so I can take those out, and then I'll just have the wires, and I'll run them actually probably back through the floor and bring them back here so I can hook them up to the battery. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Got the whole pedal assembly out. There's just a little pocket under there. So what I'm going to do is, because since I don't need the actual black wire running up to running from the switch up to the gear shifter anymore, I'm going to untape the black wire, leave it back in the axle area, and actually just replace the black wire with the white wire and run it back down through the harness so it comes back underneath the shifter, and then I can hook everything up, and that'll be easy. So the only thing running to the front will be the white wire, obviously applying power, and then the red and orange wires bringing the power back through the shifter assembly. So that'll be easy, and I will clean up all that crap and debris and mulch basically that's accumulated under there. Make it all nice and pretty. Man, this thing's going to be pretty awesome when I'm done. Can't wait. Oh, have upgraded it with a few stickers. So there's a Ron John sticker, and then cleaned off the Barbie stickers from the side, and then put the little gecko there on the hood. So it almost looks like an Icon derelict piece, because it's going to be definitely derelict because this thing was left out in the sun on the curb. Eventually I'd like to put lights on it. Probably won't happen. We'll see. Now then, my battery cables are free. I cleaned everything up, reinstalled all the floor pieces, and now I have my positive wire sticking out underneath here, and then my super long negative wire that used to run all the way to the front. So obviously I'll be cutting this down. I'm probably going to have to add some to this one because that's all I got there. But yep, wires are rerouted, so now I can install my battery back here after I trim the floor ridge a little bit. Tape up the wires some so they're a little more protected, and then figuring out exactly what kind of connectors, which will be like an easy, basically an easy install wires for these terminals, which just have a hole in them, and then basically figure out some sort of charging system also. I don't know if I'm going to run basically like I did with the little ATV. Trickle charger, that one's 24 volt like I said. This one only requires a 12 volt, so I'll have to see if I can find a small 12 volt trickle charger, something pushing like an amp or something, or is it even an amp? I don't know. I forgot what that one is, but something that'll charge this battery up overnight, you know. It should have a pretty long life because of the size of it. Like I said, it's a 230 cold cranking amp, but it is a larger capacity battery. Obviously not car battery size like I was running before, but this should last for a decent amount of time cruising around in this little buggy here. So like I said, something that I can easily charge that and hook up the wires to. I don't know if I want to do external charging or something where you have to actually remove the battery. Really depends on how much effort I want to put into this thing. So I'll show you later. Oh, so back to work on the Jeep. Got a few more things to the store the other day. My wife went and picked up a couple things. One of which is this chrome My Little Pony. Basically it was a 2-pack, the other one was a standing pony, and then this one was sitting. And I think it comes with stickers and markers and things you can paint it with. However, I thought it looked really cool as a possible hood ornament. So today I'm going to be mounting that on there probably, or at least drilling the hole so I can mount it after I transport it up north. Yeah, that'll be good. Another thing was, I guess she decided to have a horn, so Got one of them stinking horns that makes a lot of noise. And then another thing, because, well, let me show you. So it has these little driving lights on the front, which are completely unfunctional. It had stickers for headlights, but picked up some curved mirrors to put in there so it looks a little more real. And then to mount here, what I'm going to be doing today probably is attaching these little LED lights. They're 12 volt LED lights, so I'm going to be wiring those in with the battery. So those will be able to run, and then I'll be putting a switch on the dash for those. Now before I get started on a couple of the accessories, what I want to do is cut this bracket down so when I set the battery in there it actually sits down and clears the bottom of the seat. And then what I'm going to do is also that'll kind of help to keep it in place, because that lip comes up a good inch off the bottom, and that'll help keeping the battery from sliding side to side. And then I'll probably come up with another bracket to really keep it from moving and hold it in place in there. So I'm going to get started on cutting that out of the way. Sweet. Alright, I'm actually using my tripod. I never use this thing, but through the magic of that, you'll be able to see me actually do some work here. So these, I put 2 marks on here, basically marked on each side of the battery, so I'm going to cut that. I'm just going to use some diagonal cutters to cut it, and then to cut across the bottom, I'm going to use a Dremel. So that should make pretty short work of it. Hopefully I shouldn't have too much trouble cutting this. And I'm not going to cut all the way to the bottom, because there's some plastic molded into the very bottom that I think will help with the rigidity, because I don't want to take too much strength out of this frame. Alright. Maybe I won't cut it that easy. There it is. And on this side. Come on. Yeah, it's like watching my turn signal video, struggling with these. There we go. Now then. Okay, Dremel time. Hopefully this isn't too loud for y'all. One thing about cutting plastic, it always melts. There it is. Got it. Great. Now it smells like melted plastic in here. Yummy. But that stuff all peels off real easy. Yep. Sweet. That'll work. Now, test fit the battery. Oh man, like a glove. Yeah, that'll do it. Looks like I need to sit down a little bit more. See, I have one tab that's still kind of sticking up. Have to mess with that. We'll see. Well, I went ahead and spun it around just so I have better light on the end I'm going to be working on next. Now, I did just finish fixing up the wiring for the battery, so I had to add another piece of wire to lengthen the power wire because that one was really short, just going to the gas pedal. And then the ground wire was super long, so I cut off the extra from that. Went ahead and just wrapped that one in black tape to make it the negative, and then I added red wire onto this one to make it more positive. The individuals I'm giving this to have pretty decent knowledge of positive and negative things, but since I'm wiring it to my own battery, or to like a more of an automotive style battery, I don't want them to screw it up. So just running 1/4 20 bolts, which will fit right through the terminals on the battery. So next what I'm going to be doing is messing with these lights. Now these lights are adhesive on the back, and my wife was talking about just sticking them to the front. Wow, that's way out of focus, I'm sorry. Just sticking them to the front there on those driving lights. However, I don't know if I want to do that. Seems like that would look kind of crappy. So let me think about it a little bit, try them out, and see what looks best. Yeah, let me show you what's going on with these lights here. So, like I said, I could just stick the bulbs on the front, but I don't really do that. I'd really like to have them mounted inside, so just like the lens sticks through. However, you take the screw out of the middle, and see I have that going on behind there. This is what's on the inside. Now if I was to cut this off, that wouldn't be bad because the light is bigger diameter than that, so I could put a hole in the middle. However, trying to attach it then would be some sort of an issue. If I was to cut this back, then there really wouldn't be a way to attach this cover to that light. I don't know. I mean, I could obviously make some sort of bracket to attach it to here without the center. I don't know. Seems like a lot more work than I really want to do right now. Like I said, just seems like it until I figure it out. Now there are these little supports that go across the back that is screwed onto. There's a screw that runs from the inside right there underneath through that, and I'm thinking I'm probably gonna just take that wire out, or that screw out, because this is pretty solid. There's screws through there, and basically run the wire back through that tube, and then I can run it through the firewall and into the battery. But pretty easy setup. I just got to figure out exactly what I'm gonna do. So let me think about it for a minute and let you know. Well, until I figure out the fog lamp situation, I'm going to go ahead and see about mounting the little princess pony, whatever, My Little Pony. So I've already found center, marked the circle around the base of this. Now I'm just going to find how wide the mounting holes are. So it looks like right about there. Now I'm not really taking a measurement, I'm just going to put the micrometer on each side, kind of centered, and figure out where I want to mount it. There you go. Good thing this is kind of pointy. Leaves a couple little marks, makes it easy to see. I think that'll work. And that one too. Yeah, that'll be good right there. Alright. So, I just need a couple screws to thread up in there. Drill a couple little tiny pilot holes. I know where I'm going. There we go. The base of that thing isn't perfectly round. It's kind of lopsided, so basically it just comes down to eyeballing it. Well, I couldn't find exactly matching screws. The best I could find were these two. They're not perfectly matched, but they're pretty much the same diameter, just slightly different heads, and they're both cross bit. I did find two matching screws that probably would have required me to tap out the holes in the bottom of that, but it's plastic and I really don't care. So I'm just going to use self-tapping and see if I can get away with it. Alright, any bets? If I got this lined up. So, see how I did. Alright. First one. And the holes through the hood are a little snug. That's alright, works for me. And, oh, not bad, only about a quarter of a hole off. So, close enough. Now, see if I can throw these up in here without splitting out the plastic. Snug. Bam! Not bad. You got the little hood latches. What do y'all think? Looks like the Rolls Royce of Jeeps. Yeah, pretty cool. Good enough for a little girl. All right. Well, I apologize. I did a little bit of work without filming it. Basically, what I did was where these covers mounted on the front here of the lights. The trail lights, I guess you'd call them. I cut out the middle. I drilled that out, and that's where the screw hole was. And then that threaded into this part right here. Well, what I want to do is I want to mount those actual LED lights in the center of these right here. So I drilled them out with the biggest bit that I had, which went up to, I believe, a 3/4. Now those lights are, I think, about a 0.87 inch, and like I said, my drill bit only goes up to about 3/4 inch, so I had to get out the Dremel and with a little sanding disc just went around there, and I mean it took this plastic down real easy. And then I cut the back tabs off of this, so these actually pretty much snap on here now. I can't do it with one-handed, but anyway, there we go. So now those pretty much snap on there, and what I'm going to do is with the lights there, I will now mount, put the lights on, and I'm going to run the cords back through these mount holes here and run them through these tubes. So as you can see, this is what they look like when they're mounted in there. Let me hit the button there so you can see. See? Bam. So that should be pretty cool. And they snap in there just nice and snug. I just worked them a little bit at a time until they fit right in there. As for the switch on the dash, I'm mounting a little toggle switch, putting it right there so it'll be out of the way. Right there, like that. And then so if she wants, she can turn it on. Put a little washer on the front. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the wiring across here, and I think I'm actually going to run it outside this area. So if she wants to put toys or whatever in there, she's not going to get tangled up in the wires. And I'll just run them in behind underneath here and then up behind the dash up to the switch. So I don't know if I want to find just a ground wire, because there's really not much past the gas pedal, really. Or if I just want to run it right back to the battery and just have the ground run a positive wire off of the battery itself, run it up to the switch. So I'm sure, you know, there's a lot of people watching this right now thinking, oh, you need a relay and this and this and that. We'll see. I'll try it as is, and hopefully, because they don't really draw that much, hopefully this plug or this switch is rated high enough. Ooh, Mexico. Let's see, 10 amp. Oh, I guess it wants to be, it's an AC switch. I don't know if that really matters. Like I said, it's not going to be drawing a lot of voltage, so we'll see. Hopefully it's not, yeah. What is it, 10 amp? 10 to 15 amp. I don't think those little lights draw very much voltage or amperage, so, oops, sorry, you're getting blurry. Anyway. Okay, this segment was long. Sorry about that. Alright, I took these screws out. Look at these things. Man. So they go all the way through here, through that tube, and just thread into plastic, I'm guessing. So in order to pop the grill out, there's a couple tabs down here, but really what holds it in place is up here on the back side. There's a couple tabs that just kind of snap in place. And when you kind of kick those forward and over with your fingers, there it is. I do believe this will now pull out. So, look at that. Just took the grill off a Jeep. Bam. So as you can see, what those little tabs look like, they just kind of hook on there in those two corresponding holes. So, now I can run my wiring through those holes right there, and probably out through the fender and up around underneath is probably how I will do it. That looks kind of cool. I'll use that for some other project if it wasn't going back on here. Dang, man, this thing is just not focusing at all. I really apologize. I think my battery's getting low too. Alright, so I drilled the mounting holes behind the black tubes so they will actually fit the wires, and then so I'm feeding those through, and then like I said, I'm going to be taking it over and probably feeding them through the fender on the side, because oops, probably on the passenger side, just because I'm thinking I don't want as many wires and things running through, which doesn't really matter because I'm going to be pulling them up behind the dash. Actually, I could probably do one on each side, save myself a little room. I might still do that. I don't know, that mount's pretty flush. I might have to put a little groove in the side, just notch that a little bit to run the wires through, because that sits pretty flush right up against there, and I don't want to pinch them wires. This one's probably actually going to have to run down underneath the grill. Not too sure if I want to splice them into it. So this set of wires right here, or how exactly I'm going to do that. So let me think about it for a little bit. Well, I did it. I spliced the wires together. So I'm going to run one wire basically from the left light up to underneath the grill, up to this wire here, and then I'm going to run the main wire through the fender and then in behind the dash. So let me drill a hole right here. Keep it tucked in as close to the grill as possible, but I want it up high to the fender so it's protected up underneath there. There's that. And then I'm going to kind of line it up and make a notch in the front of the grill there. So so it doesn't pinch the wire. Alright, note to self, it's just easier to take the bumper loose when running the wires in, because that was a nightmare trying to get these things to basically pull the wires tight while trying to fish the grill back in behind there. It just wasn't happening. And now I'm kicking my tripod, so I apologize. Probably bouncing all over the place. There we go. Tighten those back up. Now, hopefully, these will still work. There's not a lot of support there now. So, I can see why there's upper support brackets. They are going to vibrate a lot. But they're mounted. And the only wire showing is this one coming out underneath the fender. So, that's pretty cool. I'm digging it. Alright, so just have the wires hanging right now. Moment of truth. See if this thing actually works. I got my wiring right. Come on. Sorry about that. Let's see. Great. My other wire must not have connected very well. Crap. Okay. Take it out and try it again. Alright, well I took my little splice off and played with the positive wire. Sure enough, that's what I figured it was. Didn't seem like that one was getting very good connection, but now they work. So, I think I might actually redo that splice because that's kind of a weak point. So, let me mess with it a little bit. Well, got my lights working. Got the grill reinstalled. Now, as you can see up here, I got my wire, and I want to run it right up here as close as I can up underneath the fender, and then through the back of the firewall. So I'm going to go ahead and drill my hole so I can route my wire in through there, and then it will be all protected and tucked up out of the way, I think. That should be a good spot. There it is. Alright. Now, let's feed the wire in through there. And voila. Go up in underneath. Yep, there it is. I can pull it through. So, and I have plenty of wire to run up to the back of the switch. Now I'm going to have to run a longer wire obviously over to the ground, and then I'll run a positive wire from the switch over to the battery, but looks pretty good. I like it. Well, I finally got it all wired up. Got positive wire ready to go. Got the negative wire ready to go. And I got the switch wired in for the headlights. And I got the wires kind of bundled up. I'm going to clean them up a little bit more. But got all that done, hooked up the battery, and nothing worked. Craziness, I know. Checked my positive, checked my battery itself, had 12 volts, 12.6, and checked my positive wire, ended up pulling out my gas pedal, because I was like, well, it's got to be something in between. Oh, sorry. I'd hooked up the negative here, basically just spliced it in with one of those clamp connectors that hooks 3 wires together, and took that apart because I figured that was probably what the problem was. I got the positive wire spliced in here for the lights, and the negative wire here. So I took the negative off and touched it to here with the positive connected, and my lights worked. So I figured, okay, it's something with the ground is not connected somewhere, because the wheel still wouldn't turn. Took out the gas pedal, checked continuity, made sure I had hot wire all the way down. It was good. My negative wire, and disconnected the plug here. and I had no continuity between the end of this and the plug where it goes in. So then I traced back. Well, the only joint that I had was right there where I'd connected that little splice connector, and so I cut the wire right there, put the one lead on the end of that, put one lead at the other end, and still had no continuity, and it was a solid wire all the way through. So the next best thing was actually take the connector off. So sure enough, peeled the connector off and smashed it, pulled it off, and for some reason inside the connector that was all shrink wrapped on there and looking pretty, it did not make contact to the wire. So ended up having to cut that off. Thank goodness I had another connector to attach it to the battery, but I lost my shrink wrap because that was my last piece, so now it's got electrical tape on it. That joint has electrical tape on it, but now everything hooks together and works, so I'll show you here in just a second. Okay, ready to see something cool? Here we go. Lights and forward. Oh, wheels coming loose. Anyway, there it is. Little toggle switch on the dash, and it works great. I like it. Now, as you can see, I think I told you before, the back wheel doesn't really lock in too well because, oh, get on there. Now it's locked in, and as you can see, the shaft is about probably ½ inch too short to really get the clip on there. So I figured I was just going to take the hubcap off. Sorry, you're not even focused. There it is. I was just going to take the hubcap off and put the connector, or sorry, the clip down inside the rim farther. But I figured, duh, it's a 7/16 steel rod. It just slides all the way through. So I'm just going to go to Lowe's, pick up a longer rod, about, I don't know, 4 inches longer, and stick it in there, and it will work, I hope. Anyway, that's pretty much it. I'll show you all when I'm done. Next is just tightening up some of the wires, a few little things here and there, and then we'll be ready for the trip up to Illinois. Well, as you can see, the Jeep made it to Illinois finally. 18 degrees today and snowing. Made it all the way from Florida, but it didn't quite fit in the trunk in one piece like I thought it would. I thought I'd just be able to take the wheels off, but that didn't happen. Ended up having to take the dash apart and pretty much disassemble the entire thing to get it in the trunk of the car. So anyway, gonna do the final reassembly on it before we ended up passing it off to the new owner. Alright, here we go. Reassembly time. Let me show you this real quick. Hopefully my lighting's good. The steering shaft, if you can see, has a hole through the middle, and that hole takes that pin to lock it in place. Well, in order to slide the pin out, normally I guess you'd take apart the whole steering, slide the steering column or the steering wheel down on the shaft and take the pin out, but I just drilled a hole in the side of the steering wheel to slide the pin out so I could pull the steering wheel off without having to take the whole steering apart. So that's how I did that. Alright, she's finally back together. Wheels on, sitting at right height. Nice stance, a little wider in the back. Alright, go ahead and flip the lights on. Click. Here we go, LEDs.
Turn it up.
Yeah, you can turn those off if you want. Okay. You gonna take it for a cruise?
Can we turn these overheads off?
No, it's fine.
No. Too big, man.
You got this. Oh! Nice. Whoa, 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 whoa. Easy wheels. Whoa, whoa, easy. You're running over the garage door. All right. Okay, the back wheels are bowing.